and gentlemen, and welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back inside Holy Spirit High School, the SEAGULL Classic, as we are set to bring you one of the top games of this tournament. Mike Gill, Mike Frankel, and Matt Ulmer on the video on 97.3 ESPN.com as we get you ready for what might be one of the best games of this tournament, one of the best games of the year, Mike. It is Haddonfield taking on Linden in this matchup here at the SEAGULL Classic. Haddonfield, Linden, contrast of styles.
No doubt about it. Haddonfield, Mike, is going to be more deliberate. They're going to run their sets on offense. Linden likes to get up and down quite a bit, and really it's two teams similar. You and I did a game last night, Camden Catholic, Atlantic City. It's almost a similar situation here. Haddonfield returning a lot of experience. A lot of these kids won a state championship a year ago. Now they're back for their senior seasons. Linden a little bit younger. Traditionally, the Tigers, a powerhouse out of North Jersey. They didn't get quite to that championship level last year. A coaching change, too. So you don't want to say Linden is rebuilding, but it's certainly not your powerhouse Linden team that maybe we're used to. On the other hand, Haddonfield certainly with a lot of talent back. They are without Mike DePersia tonight. He's their Division I guy. He's out with a wrist injury. He's an IUPUI commit. So he's on the sideline tonight, but still Haddonfield with enough talent, I think, to stay in this game, not only stay in it, but probably the favorites going in.
Yeah, Mike, you talk about a Group 4 team in Linden taking on a Group 2 team, but Haddonfield anything but a Group 2 team. I mean, I would imagine if they entered the Group 4 field, they would probably be a serious contender there. Last year they won the Group 2 field, and they're back with essentially the same roster. And you and I did a game, I believe, up at the Shootdown Cancer Classic. Haddonfield played Wildwood Catholic in that game with 3 starters missing and went toe-to-toe with Wildwood Catholic, who ended up being one of the top teams not only in South Jersey, but you could say was probably one of the top 20, 25 teams in the state, and that team is essentially back right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And maybe 1-2 seniors graduated from that team a year ago, but everyone else is pretty much back. And we mentioned Mike DePersia is out, but certainly enough talent across the board. Talking about guys like Dan Fleming, Dylan Hine, the list goes on and on. Lewis Evans, also a big player a year ago. So certainly the talent is there. Aiden Blake, I should mention as well, who was a big part of that team a year ago and obviously one of the leaders this year. So, yeah, they run their stuff. I mean, they run the same offense. It feels like they've been doing it forever under Paul Wiedemann. And it doesn't matter who's out there. It's sort of a next man up mentality. But close to full health, obviously, without DePersia today. So it's going to be a lot to handle. The Tigers will have their hands full.
Mike Gill, Mike Frankel, we are courtside at the SEAGULL Classic. Don't forget, you can watch live video of the games right here on 97.3 ESPN.com. Coming up next, St. Augustine Prep will take on Morristown right after this one, and then they'll clear the gym and come back for the second session later on tonight. The big one, Camden versus the Patrick School. But right now, it is Haddonfield and it is Linden, and we are running here in Absecon. Haddonfield dressed in white, red, and black. Linden in the black and orange. Moving right to left is the Dogs. Left side, top of the key, right around the foul line area. Haddonfield in the white. 3-ball up to start things off. Long rebound, and it comes down for Linden. Pettit Homey with the board for Linden, dressed in black and orange. Holmes on the wing. Top of the key, and a steal. Left hand all the way, coast to coast, a layup and a foul, and it's good. Aiden Blake gets the steal, and the deuce will go to the line.
Blake, a starter as a junior a year ago. He got a little bit banged up, a little sick down the stretch in the Tournament of Champions last year. He was unable to play in that game. I know that was frustrating for him. Also a tremendous athlete in lacrosse, but obviously a big opening play here for Haddonfield.
Aiden Blake at the line. His free throw hits back iron, front rim, it goes down, 3-0 for Haddonfield. DePersia, obviously their big guy, and they're going to be without him. But this is a pretty good team, even without a player, as you mentioned, of that magnitude. It shows you at the high school level, you lose a player of that magnitude and can still be considered one of the top teams. That shows you how deep this team is.
Yeah, he's a Division I guy, but, he's been out for a couple weeks now, so it's not like this is the first game without him. This team has sort of learned to play without him. They expect him back in a couple weeks, so it's not a season ender. At least they don't hope. But certainly, as we talked about, enough talent to make up for the loss of a guy like DePersia.
You mentioned they run their stuff, and here they are running their stuff, going baseline, and a nice layup, strong, Dan Fleming, and he's kind of taking the torch.
Yeah, Fleming's that inside-outside threat. You can say the same about Dylan Hine. Those guys can get it done both inside and they have a nice touch on the outside. That time it was on the interior.
Shot blocked away. It'll stay with Linden as Amir Williams gets his shot blocked away. 6:41 to play, 5-0 Haddonfield. Linden inbound. Williams catches. Ryan Sampson between the circles, backs up. Man-to-man defense for Haddonfield. Bounce pass into the corner, dribble drive. Bounce pass into the corner. They swing it at the top of the key. Into the corner, at the elbow, backing it out. Nashawn Holmes, bounce pass. Baseline Williams, back to Holmes. Holmes with a clean look for three. Front rim, no good. And the rebound is snared down by Dylan Heine. Fleming's jumper is off, misses the mark, but a rebound comes down to Haddonfield. 6 minutes to play, first quarter. All Haddonfield, 5-0. Into the corner, Lewis Evans. And at the top of the key now, slowing things down is Aiden Blake. Blake catches, thought about a three, top of the key. Evans, dribble drive, loses the handle, hits the deck, and he took steps.
Yeah, it looked like he run into some contact there, ended some contact trying to slice through the elbow area, took some contact, went to the ground, and just bad luck for him. He hung onto the basketball while he went down, and that's a traveling violation.
Linden down 5-0, a little pressure now from Haddonfield. Linden breaks it, ball on the floor, picked up by Linden. Zaire Desire, right of the lane. Cut off nicely. Amir Williams crosses over into the corner. Paint, dribble drive, shot blocked away. And we got to look like a whistle as Dan Fleming might have got a little body in there.
Yeah, it was Fleming and Hine. They're going to get Fleming with the foul, and there was a clean block up top, but got him with the body down low. Linden just needs a point at this point, Mike. I mean, you're talking about almost 3 minutes into the game now, so Ryan Sampson trying to break the offer right now for the Tigers.
And he does, but the first one is good. Early stages first quarter, 5:09 to play. And he misses the second. Haddonfield comes up with the miss into the corner. Wing, stolen away. And here comes Linden. And lost the handle in an offensive foul. Because he lost the handle, Mike, he kind of got out of control trying to go get the ball.
I think that ball almost went out of bounds before the offensive foul took place, but they're going to call the offensive foul. Good position down low from Haddonfield to turn the Tigers right back over. Good action so far here today, Mike. I mean, there's been 3 games so far, 2 on the girls' side. Holy Spirit girls with a big win over Delsea this morning, and then Mainland and Gloucester Catholic, 2 of the top teams on the girls' side in the area. Gloucester Catholic won that one in overtime.
Haddonfield breaking the press, almost throws it away. .445 and counting. Haddonfield up 5-1. Blake over to Fleming for 3, and that's good. Dan Fleming hits the 3, gives him a 7-point advantage.
It's misleading, too, defensively. Fleming, obviously the tallest guy out there for Haddonfield, but he is an outside shooter, so you have to stay with him out there. Even if you're a big man defending him, you got to follow him outside the arc.
Tigers trail by 7 with the ball. Top of the key between the circles. Ryan Sampson veers to the left. Bounce pass to the top of the key. Holmes. Little jab step, then he pulls it back out. Man-to-man defense here by Haddonfield. Halfway through this first quarter, 8-1. Haddonfield leading Linden. Top of the key, thought about a 3. Over on the right wing. Back to the top of the key. Haddonfield just doing a great job, Micah, closing everything down.
They do hustle on defense, Mike. A lot of help defense from Haddonfield. If one guy gets beat off the dribble, another 1 or 2 tries to slide over.
It kind of shifted to a 2-3 look here. Kind of like a matchup 2-3 zone. At the elbow, they killed off 1.5 minutes off the clock just to get that shot, and it's 1 and done. Rebound Aiden Blake. Blake coast to coast, uses some body, throws one high off the glass, and the rebound comes down to Linden. Three minutes and 10 seconds left in this first quarter. 8-1. Haddonfield leads. Working his way inside is Williams. Working hard, and he gets it rejected. So he got his own board, and then the miss. He goes back up, gets it blocked. Fleming looking for some help. He was trapped in the corner. Aiden Blake between the circles, top of the key. Back to Fleming. Fleming puts it into the posts, and in and out, no good. Rebound comes down to Amir Williams.
Good look there from Dylan Hine. He had an open look right around the foul line, and that's one he's going to knock down more often than not, just rimmed out on that occasion.
Yeah, I remember Hine getting a lot of minutes in that game last year, and now he's in that starting lineup. But a three for Ryan Sampson to cut the lead in half.
First field goal of the game. It takes him almost 6 minutes. That speaks to the Haddonfield defense to this point.
We got a foul down in the paint as Fleming taking the ball hard to the basket.
Linden fouls on number 4, Zaire Desire. His first team.
Zaire Desire with that foul in the paint. And Dan Fleming at the line. He's got 5 points.
You know, it's funny, Mike, this Haddonfield team, it was a very similar situation last year. They had a senior leader last year, Will Bond. A wrist injury kept him out most of the year. Now here we go again with Mike DePerza, but other guys able to step up then. So far on this run, other guys able to step up as well.
Yeah, and luckily, you know, this team for a Group 2 school, they have the depth. I mean, a lot of times that's the problem. You saw a team like Lower Cape May last year make it to the finals, but just didn't have that depth to be able to compete with a team like Haddonfield. This team loses a guy or two and still is in a position to be competitive.
Yeah, and remember, this is a team that knocked out Camden in the sectional semifinals last year. No easy task. So obviously a tremendous amount of talent on this roster, and a lot of that talent returning for the 18-19 season.
Evans, Blake, Serrato, Fleming, and Hine, the 5 on the floor for Haddonfield as they get the block shot coming back the other way. Into the corner. Fleming loses the handle. Double team, trapped, and Hine. And he steps on that side. No, they call it timeout. I thought maybe he stepped on the sideline, but Haddonfield kind of got trapped in that corner, and Paul Wheatman calls timeout with 1:53 to play, and Haddonfield leading 10-4.
Yeah, great start so far for the Haddons, Mike. Obviously, they're not trying to rush too much on offense. The lead is just 6, but Haddonfield is really a team that they're not going to blow you out right off of the jump, right? They're going to run their stuff. If they are going to eventually pull away from you, it's going to take some time, but a very solid start. That time the Bulldogs getting into a little bit of trouble, trap in the corner, and Paul Wiedemann sees that and calls timeout.
Don't forget Monday at 6, St. Joe's in Millville on 97.3 ESPN. Then on Tuesday, it's Mainland and Ocean City. And on Wednesday, Holy Spirit takes on Atlantic City. Next week on 97.3 ESPN, the full schedule on our website, and you can go back and watch archived games from the season. Dylan Hine gets the ball stripped away. Linden in transition. Williams catches, spins, and he is cut off at a jump ball.
Linden possession.
Really tough, tough spot for the Tigers, too. I mean, we talked about the inexperience, but it's a long bus ride from Linden all the way down here to Absecon, and to go up against a team like Haddonfield where you can't ease into this game. I mean, you have to be ready to go from the jump.
That's a good point. I mean, it's an early game on a Saturday afternoon. It's a long day to play a game that's an hour and a half long typically. Fleming, dribble drive, and he is greeted, but a foul on the floor beforehand.
Good aggressive move there by Dan Fleming, and trying to split the double team there. There was obviously a lot of contact. Could have been called a shooting foul, but they get it on the floor, so it'll be out of bounds possession to Haddonfield.
The Haddons will inbound, and the ball is on the floor, kind of kicked out of bounds. It's going to stay with Haddonfield. No, Linden. I was going to say, I heard the voice tell me.
Got to listen to that voice in your head. That one knows, right?
Yeah, I should have stuck with my own voice. 3 ball up. Serrato doesn't get the 3, but Clements is there. Fleming, excuse me.
Yeah, great position down low for Fleming. That's the thing, too. I mean, a lot of these guys, they're already looking to box out on the offensive side of the basketball. Great position down low. His teammate misses. Fleming in a great spot to put it back and in.
Dramar Hopkinson is into the game. Also, Gerby Genvier for Linden. Under a minute to play. First quarter, 12-4 Haddonfield leads here at the SEAGULL. Mike and I will have 2 more games for you coming up. Prep Morristown up next. And then we'll be back tonight for Camden and the Patrick School. Bounce pass, top of the key. Bounce pass to the corner. 29 seconds, top of the key. 3 ball up. Hopkinson, no good. Rebound Fleming. Excuse me, Blake. Here comes Blake. Bounce pass. Dribble drive. Into the corner. Extra pass. Fleming 3. Good.
That was all set up. Yeah, that was all set up by Lewis Evans. I mean, just one of those guys that doesn't look for a shot a lot. So instead of shooting, he goes along the baseline. One pass, one more pass. They find the open man. It's Fleming.
Into the paint, 2 seconds, 1, 3 ball up, too long. And that's how we end the first quarter with the score. Haddonfield 15 and Linden 4. You're watching live video of the SEAGULL Classic on 97.3 ESPN.com.
Haddonfield should be noted too, Mike. No substitutions in that first quarter. The starting 5 going the full 8 minutes. And it's not a deep team to begin with. It becomes, you know, a little problematic with the loss of DePersia, so they don't even have that extra guy off of the bench, whoever it may be, whether it's a Lewis Evans or whoever will be bumped from the starting lineup when DePersia comes back. But so far, Paul Wiedemann going with that starting 5 for the entire quarter.
And coming up next, St. Augustine Prep will take on Morristown. That's next right here at Holy Spirit High School.
Dennis says it's the bottom line. What time, Tom? You on time? I don't know. Is it what? You on schedule? Worried about that? I just like to stay on time. Do something about it. Keep the game moving. Shoot yet?
About to start the second quarter. Haddonfield will inbound the ball. They lead 15-4.
Ladies and gentlemen, it'll be Haddonfield ball to start the second.
Left side, starting things off for Haddonfield. They get a couple of subs into the game for the first time. Hine at the top of the key. Tried to really force a pass in there. It had to be a perfect pass, and he just threw it off the mark.
Yeah, there were a lot of backdoor cuts for this Haddonfield offense. That's just what they run. But, you know, that cut maybe wasn't there. I mean, you know, Linden had it defended pretty well, tried to force the issue there, and the result is a turnover.
15-4. Linden trails with the ball. Got a little extended zone look here by Haddonfield. 2-3. You know, just not a lot of space on the floor for Linden. They just cannot find any openings.
Now, even the guards up top, Drew Gavranich into the game for the first time. He's got some size at the guard position, and Serrato playing up top as well. So those are 2 bigger bodies trying to stretch the guards of Linden on the outside.
Yeah, and it's anything that Linden is going to get, looks like it's going to have to come from the outside because Haddonfield does such a good job of closing off that lane.
Yeah, it's a zone defense, but certainly, you know, with man-to-man principles, they really like to match up out of it.
3 ball up, short, rebound. Comes down to Haddonfield. Fleming picks it up. Fleming leads the way with 12 points of the 15, and his 3 ball is short. Linden back in transition. Williams with a layup and good. So coast to coast in transition for Amir Williams.
Yeah, really a nice move there to shield the defender on his back and not allow that defender to try and block the shot.
3 ball up. And that is short, and the rebound comes down. Haddonfield gets the offensive board, and up for a nice return is Ben Serrato as he went up strong.
Serrato's a guy, too, that wasn't a heavy part of the rotation last year. Did get some big minutes down the stretch, though, and obviously gave him a lot of confidence coming into the new season.
17-6, Haddonfield leads. Linden in black and orange, Haddonfield in the white. Linden here just kind of trying to reset here, take their time, and get a good look. They just have not got a lot of good looks. Hopkinson Up, high off the glass, no good. Rebounded by Aiden Blake. And a little pressure by Dremar Hopkinson results in a foul.
Some words there between Hopkinson and Blake.
Yeah, and Hopkinson just kind of letting him know, hey, I'm going to hustle. You're going to have some work to try to get this ball up the court. Zaire Desire back in.
Linden foul was called on Dremar Hopkinson, number 1.
Crossing the timeline, Haddonfield, 5.5 minutes to play in the half. They lead 17-6. Little backdoor cut, layup good as Aiden Blake and Dan Fleming, little two-man game.
Yeah, nothing better than let the game do the talking, right? You got a defender in your ear. You just go down and score on them on the other end.
Correction, that was Aiden Blake. Aiden Blake.
Trap, double team, ball on the floor. And we got a jump ball now.
Jump ball.
Ball's going to stay with Linden.
Gavranich diving on the floor for Haddonfield there. Dylan Hine in there as well.
Linden will inbound. Underneath their own basket. Trailing by 13. It's just tough trying to get one in on Haddonfield. They got somebody big body. They had two guys really defending the ball there.
Yeah, nothing has been easy, really across the board offensively for Linden to this point.
Jump shot short. His home shot goes off the right rim. Now the left wing, three is up. It's way off the mark, and Linden comes down with the miss. In transition, here come the Tigers. Middle of the paint, bounce pass. Hopkinson has to run it down on the far sideline. Swinging into the corner at the foul line. And Fleming just puts the hand up with a block. And now we got a timeout, actually. So the ball on the floor. Haddonfield corrals it, and then they call timeout to keep possession of the ball. But Fleming, he just put his hands up, and because he's that much bigger than the Linden player, he was able to get a block shot without even leaving his feet.
Yeah, seemingly no passing lanes at all, really, for Linden because of the length of not only the bigs for Haddonfield, but the guards on the outside as well. But, you know, it's going to end up with possession to Haddonfield, but at least that possession, Linden trying some high ball screens, even though it's a zone, they're trying to free up some of their guards and just create some space, at least on the outside, to operate because the space has been hard to come by to this point.
19-6, Haddonfield leading Linden, 4:27 to play here in this first half. Haddonfield out of the timeout. 12 points for Dan Fleming, 5 points for Aiden Blake, and 4 points for Linden's Ryan Sampson. They're your leading scorers so far. And the home run ball connected, and easy little lay. It looked like he might have tried to, Ben Serrato looked like he tried to jam and decided, probably better if I just lay this in.
South Jersey sports fans saw the Haddonfield football team pull off that play a few times this season. Now the basketball team pulls it off as well. Yeah, home run pass and a lay-in by Serrato at the other end.
21-6, 15-point lead. Linden on the wing. Top of the key between the circles. Long three is up. Front rim, no good. Hine comes down with the board. So Haddonfield now can really put a knockout blow here with a basket. Hine down on the block, and his shot gets rejected, but he gets his own rebound. Now into the corner. Haddonfield runs it down. It's tipped out of bounds by Nashawn Holmes. It'll stay with Haddonfield. And a nice cut. The inbounds pass from the near sideline down to the far opposite block, and Haddonfield gets a two.
Gavranich to Hine. That was a play set up out of the side, out of bounds situation, and run to perfection by the Haddons.
Yeah, very nice inbounds play there. 23-6. All Haddonfield so far, showing you why many consider this one of the top teams in the area.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you talk about Haddonfield, Camden, put that, the Panthers in that conversation as well. I know a lot of people are high on Wildwood Catholic, and, St. Augustine's right there as well. And thankfully for South Jersey basketball fans, you get a chance to see all four of those teams in one weekend here at the SEAGULL Classic.
You got St. Augustine and Morristown coming up next. And, you know, the Prep is a team that typically is in that kind of conversation at this stage of the season. Where would you kind of put them in there?
Yeah, I've seen them a few times as Holmes knocks down a 3 for Linden, but it's tough to gauge early on. Certainly, I think they're a better team than they were a year ago. I mean, they expect St. Augustine to be at that South Jersey championship level, if not state championship level. They lost to Camden Catholic a year ago in the semifinal round, so certainly nothing to be ashamed of there. But I think this is a team that certainly can challenge Camden Catholic and Paul VI to try to win a South Jersey title this year.
We'll see them up next against Morristown as a nice shot by Aiden Blake in transition.
He's really the one guy. I mean, DePersia obviously is hurt today, but Blake is the one guy that can go coast to coast in transition. I mean, everyone is very efficient on offense, but Blake is sort of that slasher, and if he can get out and run, they're certainly going to let him. He's a really creative finisher.
Yeah, the few times in the last couple of years that I've seen this Haddonfield time, every time you just leave impressed with how fundamentally sound almost every player on the court is.
Yeah, you said it, fundamentals. I mean, you know, how much do we talk and do these games, and we're talking about turnovers, and that's really the main storyline. And you do a Haddonfield game, and the Bulldogs just don't turn the basketball over that much, and that's really step one. I mean, you have to be efficient, you have to have good players, but if you can take care of the basketball, which Haddonfield historically does, you're going to give yourself a great chance to win night in, night out.
They've got 4 turnovers in the game. Haddonfield does, and that's the one time you've really seen a dribble drive beating his man, and that's why you'll see
number 21.
Linden get to the line here. It's the first time really a one-on-one breakdown has occurred.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the Tigers want, right? I mean, they have some athletic guards, and if they can get some one-on-one situations and can get to the basket, that's certainly what they're trying to get to on offense. It's just the Haddonfield makes it so difficult, but a chance for 2 at the line here from Gerby Janvier.
Janvier's first 3, no good. 3 for 15, Linden is from the field, attributing to why they have 9 points, just 2-14 from halftime. Meanwhile, on the other side, 10 of 19 from the field, over 50% for Haddonfield, just getting much better looks than the Tigers are. Dylan Hine puts the ball on the floor, kicks it into the corner. And Blake takes it to the basket strong, and he'll get to the line for his efforts. And a lot of these guys are deceptively athletic, too. I mean, there's some good jumps there, going baseline like that, exploding past the defender.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a team that they don't really try to take their men off the dribble too much, but when the situation presents itself, and that time it did, obviously along the baseline there for Blake.
First free throw attempt is no good. 25-10, Haddonfield leads. Second one is no good as well, but the rebound comes down for Fleming, and he just kind of throws it as he's on his way to his back. No whistle, and Linden comes down with the miss. Right side. Isaac Tompkins into the game for Linden. He's got the ball at the top of the key. They swing it. Janvier. Tompkins, nice pass, down low, and a foul. As good position there by Ryan Sampson.
Yeah, good patience by the Tigers on that offensive set. I mean, they're not trying to rush it. They're trying to almost take what Haddonfield will give them defensively, and they won't give you much. But that time they were able to move the ball around enough to find the open cutter. Pays off with a trip to the free throw line.
First attempt, no good.
Turning for Haddonfield, number 25, Ben Serrato.
Ben Serrato gives Dylan Hine a breather here. Serrato off the bench with 4 points. Second shot is good. 25-11 now. Linden trailing. Haddonfield with the ball. They're dressed in white, moving right to left.
Less than 2 to play here in the first half.
Over to the timeline. On the right wing. We'll pick and roll. Coming up on a minute to play in the first half. Down on the block. And a turnover. Hopkinson gets the steal, and he goes coast to coast. Gets it to go, and he'll get to the line, so a little momentum here for the Tigers.
Yeah, Draymar Hopkinson, really the smallest guy out on the court, but making something happen. The turnover, the throwaway on offense from Haddonfield. He's able to come up with the loose ball. There was some contact at the rim. He takes it, finishes, tries to get the and one at the line.
At the line, and it's no good. That would have made it an 11-point game, but they do get the rebound. Under a minute to play first half. Linden down 25-13, 45 seconds. Trying to use that screen. See if Linden holds for the last shot here. At the foul line, and now, and a steal. It's a jump ball. And that ball's going to go to Haddonfield, so he does get the steal. He just kind of anticipated, and boom, got his hands on that ball and ended up tying it up.
Yeah, that's Lewis Evans, and he's one of those guys that senior this year, standout football player as well, really scrappy. He's not going to get a ton of points, but he's going to do the dirty work, and that's what he did there. That's why he's out there. He's got to do the little stuff, and that time getting on the floor and tying up.
Deep left corner. Haddonfield with a chance to add on here right before the half. And knowing them, they will hold for the last shot. And Blake gets it stripped from behind. Linden comes up with it. They've got one last opportunity for a shot, and it is waved off even if it goes. It does not, and that's the way we end the first half, with Haddonfield leading Linden 25-13 at halftime here at the SEAGULL Classic. And I guess the story, Mike, 25% for Linden, 50% for Haddonfield.
Yeah, certainly that's a big storyline, Mike, but give Linden a lot of credit. I mean, it looked like Haddonfield could almost put this game away before halftime, but the Tigers able to make a little bit of a surge right at the end of the second quarter there. In fact, they're only outscored in that period by 1 point, and the result is just a 12-point deficit at the half. Again, it's a low-scoring game similar to Camden Catholic Atlantic City like we did last night, so sometimes 12 points is a little misleading, and, you know, it's a little further away when you only have 13, but at least they're still in the game, and Haddonfield obviously dominant at times in the first half, but not quite able to put the Tigers away yet. We'll see what happens in the second half.
We're at halftime. Mike and I'll be back for the start of the third quarter in about 9 minutes from now. It is Haddonfield 25 and Linden 13. You're watching live video of the SEAGULL Classic on 97.3 ESPN.com. Mike Gill, Mike Frankel. We are live on 97.3 ESPN.com. Matt Ulmer has the video of today's game. So far, Fleming with 12 leads the way for Haddonfield. Sampson with 5 leading the way for Linden. But it has been very good defense by Haddonfield that really has put Linden in a precarious situation. They just can't get any good shots.
Yeah, contrast of styles. You know, we keep going back to that game you and I called last night between Atlantic City and Camden Catholic, but it's really a good example because Camden Catholic likes to slow things down, play methodically, play deliberately, just like Haddonfield does. The other side of that coin is Linden tries to get up and down like Atlantic City does. So similar matchup today as last night. Obviously, Haddonfield is a very talented team, and they're going to kind of, impose their will, at least in terms of style. If they want to play a slower game, they're going to play a slower game. They've been able to do that for the most part. They've been able to run when the opportunity presents itself, mostly Aiden Blake in that department. Really in control for most of the first half. Still in control at halftime, but Linden able to kind of just sneak a little bit back into the game there right before halftime.
Linden will start with the ball in black and orange, Haddonfield in the white. Long three to start the half, and it is way off the mark. Nashawn Holmes just said, you know what, we got to change some things up here.
And if you're Tigers head coach Anthony Drejaj, I mean, that can't be what you were talking about in the locker room at halftime. That's just a head scratcher as a head coach.
And a steal on the other end of the court. And right back, the ball is on the floor and losing. Haddonfield comes back up with it. All right, Hine slows things down, and now Haddonfield. Hine on the baseline, and his layup is short, and the rebound comes down to the Tigers. Ryan Sampson, outlet pass, coast to coast. Williams is up and good. Amir Williams has 4 points now. Kick out, Fleming, top of the key, 3 is short. Sampson with the rebound. Hopkinson swinging to the corner. 10-point Haddonfield lead. Sampson tried to split 2 defenders and got the ball kind of poked away from them, and there was a whistle in there.
Yeah, better attack that time by Linden, obviously, as opposed to that first possession coming out of halftime where you jack up a very deep 3. I mean, you take the time, try to probe a little bit, find the creases in that zone, and that time it ends up with a foul called against Haddonfield.
Linden. And the Tigers coach not too happy with the way they're running their offense right now.
Settle that coach down. It's dangerous.
Foul line. Shot blocked away by Fleming. Rebounded right to Linden. A little dribble drive into the Peyton Flemington. He's had a couple of blocks today. Two minutes gone by here in the third. Little jab step, goes baseline, blows by Hine and fouled. Fleming just sticks his hands up and wonders, is that me?
Yeah, he was straight up and down, but he got there late, and I think that was the issue. I mean, it wasn't a matter of position or so much him going over the top, but just, Hopkinson was already kind of in the air when Fleming slid over, and Fleming's, I should say, a big body. Hopkinson a little undersized, so obviously he was able to sell the call.
I don't need to say anything for you to miss.
Hopkinson. The free throw line. Missed the first, second one coming. And the second one is good. They cut the lead to under double digits here. Hine, not his strong suit, pressured on the top of the key, almost throws it out of bounds, and it's going to stay with Haddonfield.
For the first time really in the game, Mike, we're seeing the Tigers defense really start to make things uncomfortable for the Haddons on offense, though, so see if the tide may be turning just a little bit, trying to speed up the Haddons.
Fleming, almost thought about throwing the ball in the backcourt there. Ball high over his head. Fleming, a lot of pressure. Linden has turned up the defensive heat here. They try to an entry pass into the post for Hine and a foul over the back.
Linden playing, with a lot of physicality on defense right now, and a lot of the Haddonfield faithful right around us not thrilled with the way this game is being officiated, but it's been consistent. I mean, they're letting them play a little bit out there, so, they're going to body each other up out there, and, you're going to have to work for those calls.
Yeah, Linden's definitely turned up the defensive heat in the half court. Now a rebound off a long three. Here come the Tigers, back in transition. Williams, coast to coast, gets his shot blocked away, but there's a whistle. Aiden Blake going to be called for the foul.
Yeah, tough call there. Blake can't believe it as he's shaking his head. He thought he got all ball up top, but again, it might be a situation where he got some body down low.
So Amir Williams
shoots two.
Gets to the stripe. And Williams' first one is pure. 25-17. They've kind of fought their way back into this game. Second one rolls in, 25-18. Linden has yet to give up a bucket here in this third quarter. Fleming kind of Euro steps his way through the paint and gets the layup.
Fleming wanted the and one as well. Again, there's just a lot of contact all the way around, but it has been officiated the same way. I mean, they're not going to call the little stuff. You have to fight through that contact. Fleming was able to do it there.
27-18. Linden trails with the ball. About halfway through this third quarter. Loses the handle. Hine comes up with the steal, and then it's stolen right back by Williams, and a lip blocked away by Fleming. Holmes went up, and Fleming rejected him, and it went off of Holmes to add insult to injury.
You could see it in Dan Fleming. He's taking out some aggression there. I mean, he gets stripped from behind. He can't believe it. He's angry about it. Takes it out on the basketball.
Blake leaves it for Fleming. Fleming in the corner. Serrato back to Fleming. And a hard foul. Drops Fleming to the deck.
Yeah, you got to call that one. Definitely a little bit of contact there. You got to call that one. Fleming able to pop up, though. Looks like he's okay.
Cutter and loses the handle. Too hot to handle. Fleming couldn't hold on, and Linden gets the ball back. They trail 27-18 with 4:05 to play in the third quarter.
Amir Williams has really been doing a nice job here in the third quarter, making things, I guess the word is frustrating for Haddonfield's bigs on the inside. He's been hustling down low, sort of getting fingertips on basketballs and doing the little things down there.
Long three, it is short. As Hopkinson just kind of pulled up from way downtown. Hine in the paint, a little fade away, and he gets it to fall.
That's a really tough shot, too. I mean, it's sort of an awkward look, and he's falling away, as you mentioned, two defenders on him, but Dylan Hine making that one look easy.
Back up to 11, Haddonfield leads. Coming up on 3 minutes to play here in the third. Linden has yet to hit. Well, actually, they're 2 for 10 from three. But it's been a tough day shooting the ball for them from both the field and beyond the arc.
Yeah, I think they started like 0 for 6, 0 for 7. They were able to hit a couple of their last few attempts here as one goes off the mark.
That one's Tompkinson, who comes up short from way down. They haven't been bashful on their three-point distance in this third quarter. 3 up for Haddonfield, and Ben Serrato gets it to fall. And that brings the lead back up 32-18, as just when Linden was creeping back in, Linden working hard, Haddonfield stretches it back.
Yeah, biggest basket certainly of the quarter, maybe of the game for Haddonfield. As you just talked about, it just sort of felt like Linden was creeping back into this thing, but with 1-3 there from Ben Serrato, you look up and it's back to a 14-point lead. I mean, it felt closer than that the way this quarter has gone, but give Haddonfield credit. I mean, they've sort of hung in there. It's been tough at times offensively in the third, and a big knockdown there by Ben Serrato.
So Serrato's 3 makes it a 14-point lead with 2:41 left to play in the third quarter. Coming up next, St. Augustine Prep will take on Morristown. We'll have that for you here on 97.3 ESPN.com. And then we'll be back tonight for Camden and the Patrick School at 8 p.m. scheduled time on 97.3 ESPN.com. 3 games for you tomorrow as well, here on our website, 973ESPN.com. That would be Wildwood Catholic Patrick at 3, Bishop Eustace Williamstown at 5:15, and Holy Spirit Pleasantville. That one should be very interesting.
Yeah, that's the Route 9 battle, right? That's the rivalry game, and you know that one's always fun when the Greyhounds and the Spartans get together.
All right, back to live action. 32-18, 2:30 left to play, third quarter. And a little stutter step, and he lost the pivot foot there. So a turnover on the travel with 2:20 left to play here in the third. Blake crosses the timeline. Blake all the way to the basket. Blake takes it strong. Blake can't get it to fall. It just kind of rolled out. And here come the Tigers in transition. Little bounce pass on the baseline. And the layup strong. He really splits about the whole team. Sampson gets a tough one.
Yeah, Hine was in there, Fleming was in there, and Sampson able to go between them and get his bucket on the inside.
And Blake just throws it away. There was 2 Bulldogs over in that corner. And Blake kind of split it between the 2 of them, and neither one of them knew who it was for.
Yeah, all of a sudden you look up at the turnover differential, and there really is none. I mean, 10 turnovers for both teams. So, again, the Tigers have done a nice job to try to speed up Haddonfield a little bit here in the third, but they need to get the work done on the offensive end, still down by 12.
Full up and under move. Off the glass, gets his own rebound, does Amir Williams.
Jump ball, Haddonfield possession.
So off the jump, it'll go back to Haddonfield there. A 12-point lead. There's a trap. And we got a whistle. Let's see what the call is on the far side, right in front of the Haddonfield bench.
Jump ball.
And it's a jump ball. It'll go back to Linden.
Tigers springing the trap there. It looked like they were just going to go with their set-ready defense as they had been. All of a sudden, call comes from the bench, and 2 guys really trap Blake right along the sideline right in front of the bench.
So Linden gets the ball right back. So jump ball. Gave the ball to Haddonfield, and another jump ball gives it right back to Linden. 12-point lead, 1:22 to play here in the third. Top of the key, left of the lane. Belt high dribble, spins back to the top of the key. Isaac Tompkins in the backcourt along with Dramar Hopkinson. Hopkinson uses the screen, bounce pass, dribble drive, leaves a pass off, too hot. Williams tips it back out. Now Williams gets his shot blocked away by Fleming, and the rebound comes long to Hopkinson. Hopkinson kicks it out to Holmes. 36 seconds. Linden. Dribble drive, and it's poked from the backside, and it'll stay with the Tigers, it looks like. Really no indication yet.
Officials getting together now and talking things over, and it looks like the ball is going to go over to Haddonfield. Last touch by Linden.
So with 28 seconds, it's still a 12-point Haddonfield lead. Blake into the corner. Kick out. Ball. Fleming. 3. Good.
2-point basket. 2-point
Just
basket.
2.
Toe on the line, but either way, Dan Fleming, he does not need a lot of space. He's able to step back, create just a little bit, and knock it down.
Amir Williams with a reversal.
Really a nice look there to close out the quarter.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the third quarter.
And Williams gets the deuce to close it out. Haddonfield leads 35-22 here on 97.3 ESPN.com as we head to the final quarter here at the SEAGULL Classic.
Quick correction, is that last basket being ruled a 2. The score at the end of 3, Haddonfield Bulldogs 34 and not 35. Linden Tigers 22.
All right, start of the fourth quarter here, 34-22. Haddonfield leads. They'll have the ball. Interesting exchange there in the between quarters.
Yeah, one of the Linden assistant coaches was having some words with the referee. It was spirited, and then some Haddonfield fans were jumping in, and the Linden assistant coach took exception, but it seems like cooler heads have prevailed as one official, John Rodeo, comes over and calms down the crowd with a couple jokes, as he often does.
We got a backcourt violation to start things off here.
Looked like that skipped right off the top of Hines' shoe and went into the backcourt, so a tough break there from Haddonfield to start the fourth.
All right, 34-22. Linden trails by 12. 7:47 left to go to try to take this lead. They have not led in this game. They trailed 5-0 to start. Dribble drive.
Hopkinson forcing the issue there, Mike, able to really battle through the contact. It looks like they're going to get Ben Serrato on the blocking foul.
Fouls on Gavranich. Linden will inbound. Gets it into the corner. Holmes. Tompkins. Spin, high off the glass, altered. That shot really altered. Sampson thought he was going to have an open look, and he saw nothing but Haddonfield defenders. Blake, swing pass, Serrato, Hine, what the, nice touch.
Yeah, you want to talk about a friendly roll. That one circled the rim, hit the backboard, circled the rim again, and went down.
36-22.
Linden calls timeout.
And Linden going to talk things over. Down 14, 6:46 left to play here in the game. And Linden just hasn't been able to get over that hump. They cut into this lead, Mike. I think they got as close as 8, but really, or 9, and just have not been able to keep that going.
Anthony Drejage is really sensing that if his team is going to make a run, it's going to happen It's going to need to happen right now. I mean, down 14 in a low-scoring game, it can feel like sort of more than a 14-point deficit. So if they're going to make inroads here, try to cut into that deficit, they have to have some clean, good possessions, and that's what I'm sure he's setting up right now, or at least trying to set up.
Just 2 of 11 from three-point range. You know, they only have 7 field goals in the game. And somehow, I mean, they're moderately still in this thing.
Yeah, I think it's because of their defense, too. I mean, certainly, you know, Haddonfield is getting the better of the contest at both ends right now, but at least Linden defensively is making things challenging for Haddonfield. But, you know, obviously the same could be said and then some for Haddonfield against the Tigers offense. The Bulldogs just suffocating to this point defensively.
14-point lead for Haddonfield. Linden with the ball. Out of the timeout, they go dribble drive, kick out 3, and he just fires it over the head of Nashawn Holmes.
Josh just with an arm right on the scorer's table. Can't believe it. I mean, you call timeout to try to set something up. It was almost like coming out of halftime, and then you get that from your team. It's got to be frustrating.
Fleming. And Fleming goes coast to coast. A little Euro step again as he had a defender running with him.
Williams was right in his path, and it really was a creative move. He took one step one direction, went back the other way. Still counts as 2 steps, and he gets the roll.
16-point advantage. And Williams with a nice layup there with the pass from Hopkinson. Serrato just wasn't ready for that pass. When he looked up, the ball was right in his wheelhouse.
Almost too wide open, you're right. I mean, he wasn't ready, but at the same time, there was no one around him, so.
Yeah, he looked up, the ball was like right in his face, and he wasn't really ready for it.
Sort of an unforced error there.
38-24, 6 minutes to play. Long jumper and an offensive rebound, but a foul on the floor, so the bucket that went in is no good.
Looks like that was Gerby Janvier crashing the boards and forcing the issue, drawing the contact there. Foul goes against the Bulldogs.
Linden inbounding. A lot of pressure. They get it in at the paint. And nice little knifing between the defenders. They find Hopkinson down on the block.
Yeah, the Haddons forgot about Hopkinson. He triggered that play, and then they just sort of lost track of him. He drifted inbounds into the lane, and he gets the easy layup.
Yeah, one thing about Linden is they just don't have a lot of size. And this Haddonfield team is very long. So Linden doing a lot with some guards playing down in the post area.
That's his second, team third.
Lewis Evans will inbound for Haddonfield. Dribble drive right of the lane, and Blake with a tough shot there.
Yeah, not only did he have to beat his man off the dribble, then there was some help defense sliding over for the Tigers, but he gets the shot up over both players and gets it to fall.
Aiden Blake, 7 points for Haddonfield. Uses the screen, top of the key, long 3, front of the rim, no good, and Hine rips down the rebound. Dylan Hine, 4th rebound of the night. Aiden Blake back the other way. Fleming with the loose change. He gets it knocked from behind, but a foul.
Good hustle there from Dan Fleming, obviously, to follow that play. It was another tough look there, really, from Blake. I mean, he did get the step, but by the time he put it up off the glass, he was sort of fading to the corner, but his teammates able to crash the boards, get second and third opportunity. 18
points for Fleming as he leads all scores. He makes it 19 with that one.
For a chance of $55. Get out your ticket stubs, 38, 46, 329.
Fleming with the second of 2.
46, 329, 38,
42-26. Fleming with 20 now.
Report to the scores table.
20 points and 6 rebounds, by the way, is also the top rebounder. He's also got about 3 or 4 blocked shots today.
And so many more things that don't show up. How many shots has he altered down there? A guy goes down the lane, doesn't put it up because he's in the middle.
Spinning in the paint. Now rushing out to the three-point line. A 3 by Isaac Tompkins is off the mark. Hine comes down with the rebound. Here comes Blake. Blake kind of A off-look pass to Fleming and a layup, and now Haddonfield stretches the lead to 18, and Linden calls timeout.
Really, for the first time in the game, I mean, yes, Haddonfield's been in control, but for the first time you look up at the scoreboard and say the Bulldogs have it. It looked at times in the first half like it was going to be over by halftime. Linden has done enough to hang around, but at this point, with an 18-point lead, just over 4 to go, Haddonfield a very impressive performance today.
And don't forget, St. Augustine Prep coming up next against Morristown right here on 97.3 ESPN.com.
It's a talented Morristown team as well, Mike. I haven't had a chance to see them this year, but I know they just knocked off Trenton Catholic the other night, which is year in and year out a perennial, powerhouse in Central Jersey. So Morristown, the Quakers, I believe classified in Central Jersey this year, and they went on a deep playoff run a year ago, and they have some guys back.
44-26, Haddonfield here. Now, Haddonfield, we know, Group 2. You've got to imagine with most of these guys all back that they would be considered a favorite, but then, of course, that's a very challenging group, a lot of times, and they won in the football group as well. So
right, back to back.
This is a very, loaded district, as you could say.
Yeah, it's sort of, the golden era, if you will, of Haddonfield athletics. I mean, there have been a lot of them. They've had some great teams over the years, but football team goes back to back, basketball team trying to do the same thing, and they're only going to get better when Mike DePerge's wrist becomes healthy.
All right, final 4 minutes to go here. Linden down by 18. Linden, a little scoop and a good shot there by Dramar Hopkinson. He's got 7.
That's a ridiculously tough shot. I mean, really impressive play there by Dramar Hopkinson.
Haddonfield just swinging the ball, trying to kill some clock here. Paul Wiedemann just saying, hey, let's kill the clock. Everybody, look how far out from the basket these guys all are. They are really just looking for the perfect shot, and they get it down to Fleming and Hine.
It's like a goaltending call going to go against Hine as the ball was sort of sitting up on the rim. And, yeah, Haddonfield was sort of ready to let the clock bleed a little bit, and then the Tigers, sensing that Linden had to go from a zone to match up in a man-to-man.
Linden needing a bundle here. Long 3, no good. The rebound offensively comes down for Janvier.
And then Williams with the putback too, so crashing the offensive glass there was Linden.
10 points for him. He's in double figures. He's the lone Tiger in double figures. Back down by 14, and they get a steal.
We're not watching the same game.
3 minutes left to go. The long 3, it's no good. Rebound comes back to Linden. So under 3 minutes to play, they're down by 14. Almost feel like they have to get a bucket here. Hopkinson high up the glass, no good, and Fleming rips down his 7th rebound. Fleming for 3, good. Boy, he didn't look like he was square. He didn't look like he was set. Looked a little off balance, and that thing didn't hit anything.
That's one where if you're a coach and you're trying to run some clock, you go, no, 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 no. Great shot.
And it extends it back to 17. And Amir Williams taking steps. And that's, again, we talked about Fleming with the blocked shots and the points and the rebounds, and that one's there. He doesn't get credit for anything on that, but he was standing in the paint, and that altered that shot and caused the turnover.
He was a guy that really, for a lot of last year, almost flew under the radar. I mean, Haddonfield, everyone talking about Bond, who was injured and then came back to help the run toward the end, and DePerge, obviously. But Fleming was obviously a huge part of that team as well, and a guy who maybe because defenses would key on some other guys, he'd get his looks. I mean, and now this year, you have to prepare for him, but he's still able to get the production, and a huge game today.
25 points, 7 rebounds for Fleming. Turns it over, and right back. And Hine is fouled by Gerber Janvier.
Linden. Number 3, Gerby Janvier.
It's his 4th foul, by the way. Not a lot of fouls in this game. The officials have been letting them play.
Yeah, we talked about that in the first half. You know, it's been fair, though. It's been called similarly both ways, as I'm now aware that there are 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
And Hopkinson, as we mentioned it, Linden, 6 of 11 from the free throw line, and Haddonfield 5 for 7. So just 18 free throws in this game. Jamar Hopkinson with 7 points. And we've seen 2 Group 4 perennial powers, Mike, really struggle in this tournament.
Just speaks to high school sports. I mean, we're so used to having, a lot of the same teams near the top every year, but it's not as easy as just snapping your fingers and expecting a team like a Linden or an Atlantic City to be that good every year. And look, both have faced great teams. I mean, I think you consider Camden Catholic and Haddonfield both great teams, certainly great when you talk about South Jersey, maybe even the state. So as Hine puts one back, but tough spot for both teams. Atlantic City last night, Linden today. Both teams battle, but just going up against superior opponents.
Yeah, and you wonder, like Atlantic City, you look at their roster, they're laced with a lot of upperclassmen there. Now we are looking at that roster saying there's a lot of upperclassmen. You mentioned last night, a lot of them who don't have a lot of experience, but you wonder at what stage of the season do you start to see some younger guys kind of infused in there to see if they can give them a little jump start,
Yeah, that's the age-old question for any, high school sports coach across the board, is when you're having a year that maybe isn't great, when do you let the seniors play and when do you kind of turn the page and get the younger guys some experience? And
Vikings have a very talented JV team.
Yeah, and you look at the makeup of this Linden team right now. I mean, it's all different age groups out there, but again, it's guys with not a ton of experience. You go back, I believe just 2 years ago, Linden made the Tournament of Champions final. So you're talking about guys that, these kids were part of that program, a lot of them, but they were either on the bench or on junior varsity or freshmen. So, last year and this year, a lot of these kids really working their way into the rotation for the first time.
Fleming leaves the game, it looks like, for good today. 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 9 of 16 from the field, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, perfect from the free throw line, and about 3 or 4 blocks as well. We'll have to get that number for you at the end of when they tally them all up for us. 49-32, final minute of play. And a shot comes up short. Aiden Blake comes up with the rebound. And Paul Wiedemann calls timeout, but he says, I don't really need the timeout. I just want to get my guys off the floor. With 53 seconds left, we're going to get wholesale changes for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, well-deserved curtain call for the regulars here from Haddonfield. Really, obviously, impressive efforts across the board as Fleming checked out, a couple seconds ago. But guys like Aiden Blake and Dylan Hine and, Lewis Evans, obviously with great games as well.
Chance for the young guys here to run the offense once or twice before this game is official. Gostovich, Connor Fell, Stevie McLean, Luke Gallagher, (49-32). Linden, by the way, entered this game 6-2, so they've got off to a pretty good start. But Haddonfield 7-0. It just shows you how very good they have been, and they're going to improve to 8-0. Linden's going to drop to 6-3 here on this young season, which kind of starts creeping into a quicker pace. We say next week on 97.3 ESPN Radio, we'll have 3 games in a row. Starts to get very interesting quick that month of January, and the next thing you know, February, you're kind of jockeying for playoff positioning.
Yeah, it should be mentioned, too. I mean, Haddonfield, they play a lot of these high-profile tournament games because, quite frankly, playing in the Colonial Conference, they don't get a real tough schedule night in, night out. There's some good teams there, certainly Haddon Heights and Haddon Township. But for Haddonfield to really get a schedule they need to play in these showcase events, and certainly mission accomplished today against a highly touted Linden team and certainly a perennial powerhouse from North Jersey.
Final score, Haddonfield improves to 8-0 as they beat the Linden Tigers, who fall to 6-2. Final score 49-37. Haddonfield beats Linden here at the SEAGULL Classic. Leading scorer is Dan Fleming with 25 points for Haddonfield, and Amir Williams with 12 points and 8 boards for Linden. Once again, Haddonfield improves to 8-0. Linden drops to 6-3. Coming up next, Mike and I will bring you St. Augustine Prep taking on Morristown right here from Holy Spirit High School. That should be another good one. And don't forget, stick around on 97.3 ESPN.com. And by the way, Fleming, we told you we get the blocks for you. 4 blocks officially, so 25 points, 7 rebounds, 4 block shots for the senior.
Yeah, impressive effort from Dan Fleming, and it was from start to finish. And it was really the first quarter that this game was won. I mean, you didn't know it at the time. It was 15-4 after 1, but Linden almost matching Haddonfield in points in the second, third, and fourth, but that 11-point deficit after 1 was too much for the Tigers to overcome.
Once again, we'll be back in about 12 minutes with the start of St. Augustine Prep taking on Morristown right here at the SEAGULL Classic. Stick around.